What if your worst nightmare wasn't a monster lurking in the dark, but your own reflection? Neymar thought he was just having another normal night in his luxurious apartment, until he received a message that changed everything. "I know everything about you." At first, he thought it was a prank, a random fan trying to get his attention. But as the messages kept coming, they grew more disturbing. "I see you," one read. Another one said, "You can't run from what's coming." Neymar laughed it off, but his unease grew. There was something different about tonight, something in the air that felt off. He tried to ignore it, pushing the feeling aside as he continued scrolling through his phone, but his heart raced when another message came through. "I'm in your house." He shot up from his chair and looked around the room. Panic settled in, his breath shallow as he scanned every corner of his apartment. It was silent. Too silent. No one was there. But then, his phone buzzed again. "Look out the window." Fear gripped him. Could this be real? Neymar hesitated before walking over to the window and slowly pulling the curtains apart. The street below was empty, no one was there. His heart was pounding, but he tried to calm himself. Maybe it was all just a twisted joke. But as he turned back toward the room, his phone lit up once more. "I know everything about you." Neymar's breath caught. This wasn't a joke anymore. There was something far too personal about these messages. How did they know so much? He checked his phone, trying to rationalize it. Maybe it was just another hacker, or someone who had somehow accessed his personal information. But before he could think any further, the next message came. "I'm inside." The hairs on the back of his neck stood up. He quickly scanned the room again. This time, the silence was deafening. The footsteps echoed from the hallway, slow and deliberate, as if someone was deliberately trying to make their presence known. Neymar's heart raced, pounding in his chest as he frantically tried to dial for help, but his phone was dead, completely black. The footsteps grew louder, closer. Neymar's pulse quickened. He could see a shadow moving under the door, and his breath hitched. Was it a person? He couldn't be sure. He stumbled toward the door, ready to defend himself. But then he heard a voice. A low, menacing whisper seeped through the crack in the door. "Come out and play, Neymar." It was his own voice, but distorted. The words sent a chill down his spine. His hands trembled as he reached for the door, turning the handle, but it wouldn't budge. The door, as if responding to his fear, swung open on its own with a slow, unsettling creak. And then he saw it. His reflection, or at least it looked like him. Standing there in the doorway, smiling with hollow eyes, was a twisted version of himself. "You think you can escape your past?" the figure sneered, his voice laced with mockery. Neymar's eyes widened in shock as the figure moved closer, every step unsettlingly unnatural. It grinned maliciously. "Your past is coming for you," it continued. Neymar's blood ran cold. Was this a dream? Was this real? He turned, scrambling for the nearest exit, but the handle turned by itself. The door swung open, revealing an endless void beyond, a darkness that swallowed everything. "No!" Neymar screamed, backing away. This was impossible. The door slammed shut in an instant, trapping him again, leaving him with no escape. The twisted figure stepped forward, its grin growing wider, its eyes burning with a malevolent fire. Neymar's heart raced, panic flooding his mind. The figure's hand reached out, cold and skeletal, almost touching his face. "It's too late," it whispered. Neymar gasped for breath, struggling to find any way out. His chest tightened, suffocating under the weight of the terror surrounding him. The room seemed to close in on him, and just when he thought there was no hope left, a sharp pain struck his chest. He clutched at his heart, feeling it pound as the figure's laughter filled the room, ringing in his ears. It was his own laughter, twisted and distorted. In that moment, Neymar realized the horrifying truth. There was no escape. The darkness had found him, and it had come to claim him. The figure stepped closer, its twisted smile widening. Neymar couldn't breathe, couldn't think. It was over. The last thing Neymar saw before everything went black was his own reflection, the nightmare made real. The terror he had feared for so long finally consumed him. And with that, the darkness took everything.